Welcome. Today I want to talk about policy, machine-readable policies. Everything I present is available from my GitHub repository here. So, let's look at the requirements. As someone in charge of regulating policies in my organization, I want to write machine-readable policies. Let's look at an example. So by default, we do not allow, and we allow if it is not a child, and by default a child is present. These functions are built in to Open Policy Agent's language is known as Rego, and this is also a built-in function of Rego. So a child is false if I supply some input, and here's the input. The input is that person is from Wakanda. The date of birth is this, 2020, so it's pretty young. Age actually is an array, and the first element of the array, or the 0th element of the array, is the year. I also supply some data to be evaluated. That's the data. In Wakanda, you must be above 15 to be not considered a child. Korumba 14, Zinge 16, and so on and so forth. Imagine all this coming from a database. This is machine readable. I can evaluate it. As I evaluated the results, you can see that the age is 2 years, allow is false, and child is true. So it's machine readable. Right, let's go back to the requirements. So, as a product owner now, I want my product to enforce the policy in code. So, given a set of data, which is what I've shown you just now, and the input data, I should receive approve, allowed, or denied when applying policy data and input. Let's look at the demo. How do I do it? Not on the Rego playground, but on my own server. So let's do this. I've downloaded the OPA server. I'm going to run it here, and the server is running. So notice something, it's actually pulling the bundle of data from the playground, and it's now loaded. It's loaded and activated. So let's run some queries against. I'm going to run exactly the same Wakanda. Notice this is just a simple traditional REST type API. I curl to localhost because that's where OPA is running, to this particular endpoint. Country Wakanda, date of birth 2020. So allow false, child true. Right? And here we've got request ID 1. Let's try Wakanda again, but now we have a year 2000 date of birth. Allow true because the child is false, and age is 22 years old. Request ID is 2. Let's try with a different country. Old person, year 2000, 22-year-old person, and the country is Zinge. Request ID is 3. Allow is true, child is false. This old person. Now let's do a control experiment. We have a non-existent country called bad country, and by default, we want to assume that there's a child present. We don't know what's the threshold age. Allow false, child true, request ID 4.